All right, so now we are going to write, solve, and graph an inequality involving combining like terms based on a word problem. Now, this is a little bit longer of a word problem with more information, but you have the skills that it takes to solve this. It's all about, once again, looking for the information. So what do we know that's important? Well, we know that we start with 7 bags of rice. So we want to make sure we are highlighting that piece of information. We also know that we use 10 pounds. So that, if I'm using the 10 pounds, I don't have it anymore. That tells me I'm subtracting. So I want to pay attention to that word use. Then we find that we've used 3 more bags of rice. So that's that key word used, 3 bags. So we know we're subtracting those as well, although we don't know exactly how many pounds we're subtracting. And then we know that we find 23 more pounds of rice. So that is an addition. That is something that is new that's being added on because we hadn't accounted for it. We also know that we have more than. So there's that key word. That's nice and neat laid out for us. Greater than 213 pounds of rice. Oh, keywords in total. Very important. Tells us that that is going to be our standalone number there. And our question is, how many pounds must each bag of rice weigh more than? So essentially this is asking for the minimum weight of a bag of rice, and then what is the possible range of that of weight for that bag. So let's write down what we know. So we know, well, we'll start with what we're looking for. How many pounds does each bag weigh? So X stands for ostensibly the weight of the bag of rice. Now, that weight can change, so it's not the exact weight, it's just the range of weight that it could be, but we'll just say, just to keep ourselves nice and brief, weight of bag of rice. So of each bag of rice, how much could it weigh at minimum? Now, let's talk about what we know. So we know that we started with 7 bags of rice, so we had 7 bags of rice to start. Then we subtract, so we lost 10 pounds, so not the same units, pay attention to that. That 10 pounds is not a like term with the 7 bags, so we have to think about that. We used 3 bags, so we lost 3 bags, that's going to be a subtraction. And we found, so that's added 23 pounds. So the bags are our coefficient, number of bags, how many bags, because then we multiply that by the poundage to help us add up to our total weight. This is a constant, and in this case we have 2 constants. We have the constant that we subtracted, and we have a constant we add. We have 2 coefficients. The coefficient that we started with, 7 bags, the amount of bags that we lost, 3. And here's our second constant, the finding of 23 pounds of rice, where we didn't know we had it. So we know what our coefficients are. We know that they are going to be multiplying our x variable. So what is this going to look like if we're going in order chronologically of what happened in the problem? We had 7 bags of rice that we don't know what their weight is total, but we do know that all of this stuff put together is up to more than 213 pounds. Oh, that's what I forgot over here. So 213 pounds, we need to account for it. Total, so all of this adds up to greater than 213 pounds. So I'm using my symbol, getting used to using my proper symbology here. So 7 bags of rice we subtract 10 pounds. We use 3 more bags, subtract 3x. We found 23 pounds, and then all this is greater than 213 total pounds. So now we talk combining like terms. So what can go together? Well, we can do this in 2 steps. We can do this in 1 step. So we'll start by thinking about our 2 our like terms with x. We have 7x, we have to take away 3x. That leaves me with 4x. Now, if I'm doing this double step, I'm just going to bring down my other values. 4x minus 10 plus 23 is greater than 213, but at that same time, I could also be dealing with the like terms of negative 10 and positive 23. So 23 minus 10 is 13. So now I have 4x plus 13, because that's a positive, is greater than 213. And now it just brings me down to normal two-step inequality, which is solved the same way ultimately as a two-step equation, just with the additional step of making sure we're paying attention to the inequality symbol. So we're going to subtract that 13, property of equality, subtraction property of equality, taking care of additions and subtractions first. I don't need to worry about messing with the 4x because I'm not doing anything to it yet. 213 minus 13 is 200. I know that 4 is multiplying the x, so to reverse it, I'm going to divide by 4 because division is the opposite of multiplication. That allows me to have x solved for. X is greater than 200 divided by 4 is 50. So each bag of rice needs to be greater than 50 pounds would be my solution here. And then, so depending on what you're being asked for, you may need to write that in a sentence. You may need to use this as a multiple choice, but pay attention to how the answer must be given. And now we can graph our inequality here. And again, keep it basic. 50 pounds has to be greater than, so this is an open circle, and we are going greater than 50, so it needs to go to the right. And now we have written an inequality, solved it, and graphed it.